Hello, Hel- Hello, everybody. Sorry about that for those of you listening on YouTube. Up, down. Okay. Sorry, guys. Just trying to figure out a little bit of technical difficulties here over on YouTube and for the audio and everything. Just making sure everything's right for y'all. How are y'all doing here on WSJU and on YouTube? My name is Logan. I am the host here for the Log Show. And my man Eric is back after his little work meeting that, was way too important for us. Yada, yada, yada. You know how it is. But he is back. And not only that, he brings a friend. I'll let you introduce yourself.
My name is Jason. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Talk about sports. Talk about yourself.
Yeah, I'm a journalism major, freshman. I'm here to talk about football, whatever we talk about today. Big writer, journalism. Yeah.
I love it. And, we do have a lot to talk about today. We were talking about it before a little bit. Huge week in week 11 of the NFL season. Yeah, it kicks off tonight with the Washington Commanders versus the Philadelphia Eagles. This week in general should be a good one. A lot of divisional matchups. You have a classic rivalry on Sunday, too, with the Bears-Packers. I joked about it before. You got a Jameis Winston revenge game in Cleveland going into New Orleans. Ravens Steelers, which by the way, in my opinion, should be flexed to like Sunday night. I don't know why that's a 1:00 game.
That's a 1:00 game.
Yeah, that's.
I feel like that's a prime time 1:00 game.
Don't worry. Instead, on Sunday night, I just looked. We're getting Bengals Chargers.
That's a big wild card matchup, though. The Chargers have the 2-game lead over the Colts. And then, the Bengals.
And the Bengals haven't put it together recently.
They need to get a win here. If they get that win, they're in prime position for a wild card position because they have a really easy schedule coming up. And you even got to look at the Chiefs the Chiefs-Bills game at 4:25.
That's gonna be a huge
Oh
game.
yeah,
that's always a classic.
Yeah,
that's
always
20
not only that, you have Seahawks Niners this week.
Falcons Broncos, that's a good game too. Still,
I was about to say also on the side of teams who might not be playing as well. I think the Colts coming into New York could be really interesting, especially with Anthony Richardson coming back this week.
Hopefully he's not too tired after that plane.
Yeah. A lot to talk about. We talked about it a little bit before just to wrap up, or just to kind of talk to everyone about what's happening this weekend. A quick gist, like I said, NFL Week 11. Obviously, hockey's been underway. Islanders are playing okay. They're middle of the pack right now. Knicks basketball has been rolling. They lost last night in a heartbreaker. That one was rough to watch as a Knicks fan. With that foul late, Colby White hits the three free throws. The Knicks lose that one. Not only that, big weekend in the fighting world. I know you two aren't big fight fans, but we have one fight that a lot of people are looking at as a joke, and one fight that to UFC fans we've been waiting for since November of last year. I'll start with the fight tomorrow. Tomorrow we have a kid who calls himself the problem child. At 26 years old.
He's a bum.
One loss to Tommy Fury.
I actually despise him.
Professional boxer.
I actually despise him.
Jake Paul.
I actually despise him.
Fighting the one, the only.
I can't believe this is happening.
The monster himself.
I can't believe this is an actual event going on.
Iron Mike Tyson.
I can't believe this is actually an event going on. I can't believe that Jake Paul has gotten himself to a point where he's fighting Mike Tyson. I hate this. I hate this so much. Jason, you're shaking your head over there.
I feel like it's a very good marketing scheme. You got Mike Tyson going at whatever age he is, so many years after fighting against Jake Paul, who's big right now, and especially if you look at TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, he's got very many promotions, especially at Prime. I feel like this is a very good idea by Netflix to especially stream this. This is one of their second live events that's really going to be viewed a lot. If you look at the Tom Brady roast thing, that had a lot of views, and I feel like having Jake Paul, Mike Tyson's on your platform is huge. And I feel like it's gonna be very scripted. You're not gonna have Jake Paul throwing punches at Mike Tyson in the face. You're not gonna let that happen, especially after the heart attack that he suffered, or it was a heart attack or something like that. It's just this fight. If you look at it, it really hasn't been marketed a lot recently. A lot of people probably don't know that it's happening tomorrow.
I completely forgot that it was tomorrow.
So, you guys want to hear a fighting fans analysis?
Yes,
Yes.
I would appreciate it.
So I'll start on the side of Jake Paul. Jake Paul as a human,
True.
don't like.
Okay.
I
yeah,
will
that's
start
fair.
here with that.
That's totally fair.
Yeah.
But as someone who now I'm not a huge boxing fan, so the rules and nuances of boxing are slightly different than UFC because there's more in UFC with the wrestling and boxing. There's a little other techniques and stuff like that. But Jake Paul has at this point, I will give him the respect of saying, has built himself up to he's a boxer. It's no longer like it was when he was fighting, like when he first fought Tyron Woodley and when he fought Nate
That was also a
Robinson.
joke of a fight, but yeah.
And he fought these guys, and it was like, oh, this is an influencer boxing. It has reverted to, you saw he had the Tommy Fury fight. He's a boxer. Now, on the side of him fighting Mike Tyson, I think is very interesting because I think Jake Paul in his career has been very good at this and knowing this. Jake Paul has never once sat there and really thought of himself as, even though he'll say it in the media, I don't feel like he's ever thought of himself as someone who's going to be a world champion boxer. I know, well, I could talk about this on a different day. I know he called out Canelo and all this.
That was goofy too.
Yeah, that was
But
kind of crazy.
he's not this world championship boxer. But what he knows is with his talent, he knows how to make money with his talent and
Yeah,
his skills.
100%. Absolutely.
You talked about his marketing skills before and stuff like that. So he knew that fighting Mike Tyson, there is no way, and I said this when this was originally called. This whole fight, it is impossible for a narrative to be negative about anyone. Mike Tyson loses. Oh, he was 58. Obviously, he lost. But on the side of Jake Paul, you sit there and go, I beat Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Vice versa happens. Everyone's going to sit there and go, well, it's Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
So there's no loser in this whole at all. And they're
Yeah.
both going to make a bag.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think if Jake Paul, obviously, which I've said before, was going to sit there and take himself into the boxing realm, if he wants to be taken serious in the boxing realm, I talked about this when this fight was scheduled originally. You have to fight real boxers.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
only fought one, and that was Tommy Fury, and it's his only loss.
Yeah.
So, but if Jake Paul is doing this for at the end of the day to prove that if you put your mind to something and train at it, you could get well at it, which is what he's done at boxing. He is now a skillful boxer, and you can make a lot of money doing it, then he's doing that well.
I think what Jake Paul has done is really taken the phrase "there's no such thing as bad publicity" and completely ran with it.
Oh,
Completely
110%.
ran with it. I mean, you look like you said. If you look at this fight, no one, literally, there's no loser other than the guy that actually loses the fight. But still, you can still make a case for why they're not actually losing. Everybody's making a bag.
Jake
Paul's making a bag. He's bro. Why am I?
That's what I'm
farting?
saying. Like Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson's making a bag. Sorry, and Netflix are making a bag.
Yeah.
Everybody's making a bag.
No, yeah, bro, and that's what I'm saying. The only negative to any fighter here is the fact that it is a professional sanctioned bout.
Yeah.
So it will go on a professional record. But that's only a negative to Jake Paul if Jake Paul loses.
Yeah, absolutely. If
Like
he wins,
Mike
it's
Tyson
huge.
at this point at 58 years old
Does not care.
does not give a
Does not care.
flying F
Does not care.
about his professional boxing record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's proven who he is. We all know who he is. He's Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Now, if Jake Paul loses that blemish on his record, him trying to now, if he's going to try to take boxing seriously after this and call out a real boxer,
Like Canelo.
well, if he loses, there's no way that
No,
that's what I
never,
mean. So I'm
never.
saying if he loses, you kind of ruin your chances of boxing career as Jake Paul because you're looking at it as a real boxer. And I don't want to say Jake Paul isn't a real boxer because I don't like when people don't say that because he trains as much as one.
Yeah.
He puts in the work. He's a boxer. But like someone who where he if he wants to fight someone that's going to put him on a level where he's going to be respected, I'm going to sit there and go, why am I fighting a dude who lost to Tommy
Yeah.
Fury, who's an average at best boxer,
Yeah, no.
and then a 58-year-old Mike Tyson?
Yeah.
Like why would I put my legacy on the line for that? It's kind of like the other big fight this weekend, which I'll touch on for a little bit, and then we'll move on to NFL and stuff so we can really get into our fun discussions we have today. But like John Jones said this recently in an interview, and a lot of people are saying John Jones is ducking the current interim heavyweight champion, Tom Aspinall. I don't know if you guys have done any research on that situation at all, but so John Jones wins the heavyweight strap against Cyril Gane, right? Dominant win. He goes to fight Stipe, right? This was last November, a year ago today.
Yeah.
I literally, I plan to do the same thing that I'm doing this week. I had tickets to the weigh-in. I'm going to watch the fight on Saturday. I was super hyped. Yeah. John Jones gets injured. Dana White made the decision, which to this day I think is a very controversial decision. Dana White made the decision that John Jones got injured. It's okay. Instead of waiting for John Jones to come back, we're going to make an interim title fight for the interim heavyweight champion. Tom Aspinall wins that belt. Now, Tom Aspinall is probably still the best heavyweight in the world currently at his age and everything. But John Jones obviously isn't that old, but John Jones is at the point of his career, like, I'll compare it to kind of Mayweather when Mayweather was going down, where Mayweather wasn't taking the best guy on. He was taking on legends, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he was taking on Pacquiao. He was fighting Conor McGregor, who was a big name and a big boxing, striking name at the time. But he wasn't fighting the kid who was an up-and-coming best in the world at the time. That's kind of where John Jones is right now. And, like I feel like a lot of people will put in that same situation where John Jones would be if Jake Paul loses that fight, where you're going to look at it and it's going to be like, am I going to blemish my whole reputation to fight some young kid that's calling me out when right now people are calling me the greatest of all time? Like, no, I'm only going to fight people who are also in the conversation of greatest of all time. So, same thing with Jake Paul. I feel like if he loses this, I'm going to go, I'm not fighting, like, because then he's a celebrity boxer. If he loses this, he's a celebrity boxer. He's not a professional boxer anymore.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, I have a pretty big prediction. I feel like in the next year or so, you're going to see Jake Paul, Logan Paul be a big fight. I can see that happening. Marketing-wise, it's going to be huge marketing.
Yeah.
The only way I don't see that happening is I don't know if – I'm also a big fan of this, which is funny to say. Growing up now, I watch it like a TV show.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're saying.
I don't know if WWE will let him do that.
That's true.
Injury-wise.
I mean, you could maybe –
It matters what his career – in the professional wrestling world becomes, because right now he's still like a part-time, just like show up when he wants to. But if he takes that professional wrestling thing serious, it will become, and he starts going on like Monday Night Raws and stuff like more often, that will become a real discussion if he wants to do boxing, where it's like the people in charge of WWE will sit there and be like, we don't want you, you're a star for us now, like you're making us money.
Here.
You guys have any predictions for the fight though? Yeah, I know you guys aren't fans, but like, are you guys both taking Tyson as people who don't really?
I don't know. I really have a feeling Jake Paul's going to win.
That's
it's just like
I don't see a way, right? I thought of it this is the way I break it down to a lot of people. Take the names out of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to take, right, a 58-year-old former world heavyweight champion and put him up against a kid who is, how old is Jake Paul, right? 27.
27.
And has been training in boxing and has knocked out. Now, you could argue whatever you want. Jake Paul has knocked out some of the biggest names in the world.
Yeah.
He knocked out Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
He knocked out Tyron Woodley. These aren't UFC guys. I have seen clips of Tyron Woodley get his face bashed in. So it means Jake Paul has a heavy hand. I'm not saying it means he's a great boxer. Like, you could have a heavy hand and be able to knock someone out and not be super skillful. Like, he wasn't very skillful in that Tyron Woodley fight. But Tyron Woodley got caught with a good hand, like a good punch. And when you break it down and you take the names out of it, I find it hard to believe that a 58-year-old man is going to have the energy. If Jake Paul's coach is as competent as any boxing coach in any fight industry ever, you're going to sit there and go, play with him for 3 rounds. Don't throw a punch for the first 3 rounds and let this 58-year-old drain all his energy and come out round 4 like it's round 1 and hit him with a rocket hook.
Yeah. I think my prediction with this is I haven't seen any of. Yo, it's Mike Tyson, right? Why don't I? You guys have keep like right? That's who it is. I
Yeah.
don't know why. Yeah, I keep like blanking on the name, even though you guys have said it like 10 times. But
It's the Iron Mike Tyson.
I have not seen his training videos, but I don't think there's any way that at his age and with his current health condition he's going to be able to, because it is it's a professional fight.
Well, no, he does have the advantage that in the rule set they are doing timing wise it's 2 rounds instead of 3. Usually in a professional fight it's 3 rounds, in the amateurs it's 2. Because of Mike's age, they're doing 2-minute rounds.
Okay.
They're doing I think it's 8 2-minute rounds
still
and
don't-
8
something like
3-minute
that,
rounds.
I still don't think that I don't think he's going to be able to keep up though. I got
That's what I'm saying. It's just like
Paul in 6.
I feel like there's no like reason Mike Tyson needs to win this, and I feel like that's what his contract with Paul is saying. I feel like he's making extra money to not throw the fight, but sell it to the point where Jake Paul's gonna win.
Just kind of be there, like be
Exactly.
a body.
Well,
almost.
all right, here's the thing, and I thought the same thing at first, but then my opinion changed a little bit hearing Mike Tyson talk. I've realized Mike Tyson is just a competitor
Yeah.
where he knows at the end of the day this is a professional bout. He doesn't want to lose. Like, let me put it, and I'm all in for the theories and stuff like this. Let me put it this way, right? It is one thing for your reputation as Tyron Woodley to go, all right, I'll throw a fight and take a drop to Jake Paul. It's another thing to do that as Mike Tyson.
Yeah, it's Mike
No,
Tyson.
yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
That's why I don't see that the contracts were. That's why I think out of any Jake Paul fight, this one is This one and the Anderson Silva one are the two. Or like Anderson Silva is the same way. Where Anderson Silva is one of the greatest MMA fighters and one of the greatest kickboxers of all time. There was no way Anderson Silva was going to sit there and go, "I'll give him this." Like,
Yeah.
that's not in them. It's not in Mike Tyson in a contract to be like, all right, I'll go out there and sell a few punches. And I don't think Mike Tyson can no matter how much money you give Mike Tyson, I don't think he can do it.
I agree with that. I feel like the main winner of this fight though is Netflix. You got to look at it as
Absolutely.
a streaming
Absolutely.
standpoint.
Oh yeah.
What streaming services are able to stream something big as this? Like no Hulu can't do this. Like
Now I've still tried to
HBO.
figure this out. I don't know if you know this. Is there an upcharge on top of it?
no, it's completely free if you're subscribed to Netflix. But I feel like I
That's
heard
nuts.
that they might be bumping it up soon because I know starting January 1st, WWE
Yeah.
Monday Night Raw will be streamed live on Netflix every week.
And then they also Netflix
yeah.
signed a deal with.
The NFL, they're doing NFL.
It was the NFL.
NFL
right?
next. I honestly think that.
I think they get the Christmas games on NFL.
Yeah, next year. And I feel like that's where it's not going to be an upcharge. It's going to be more of a subscription boost. Like
no,
that's
yeah, the
why
subscription price will go up like
it's
$1
gone
a
up.
month,
It's gone
yeah.
up a little bit already. Like that's why though they're preparing for these big things. But this is big for Netflix overall.
No, yeah,
We're
that's
like,
that'll
it's
definitely
huge.
be interesting. And then also, like I said, not only that, this weekend, John Jones, great, bro. John Jones, I recommend. I always support this. Dana White, come at me. Come after this little YouTube stream that I have. Come after my tiny YouTube stream for sitting here and literally promoting the fact that everybody should, realistically, if you're watching a UFC fight, stream it illegally.
Yeah.
Go on whatever.
oh, that's what I'm
Do
doing.
not,
Yeah.
yo, if you are watching the UFC by yourself, if you are sitting there by yourself and you are like me, a college student, you're watching the UFC alone, do not spend $70 on the fight, bro. Like,
Dana White. This is allegedly, of course. Allegedly, we are allegedly going to.
well, no, there's a reason why I'm not saying the name of the website.
Go on.
There's
go
a
on
reason.
TikTok.
There's a
We
reason I'm
are-
not giving out the name of the website so Dana White can
allegedly
stream.
watching it illegally.
No, Dana, I am. Dana, I am. I will tell you right. Dana, I love you as a human. I do genuinely like Dana White as a person, even though pay your fighters, Dana.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, I will tell you, I recommend if you guys are doing nothing on Saturday
Oh, yeah,
night,
no.
tune in because John Jones is. Not only that, the co-main event is Michael Chandler, Charles Oliveira.
Yeah, I saw that. That's huge.
If you don't know who they are, that's the second time they're fighting. First one was a classic, and then like I said, John Jones is the UFC's Floyd Mayweather. Like this isn't.
I agree. Yeah.
This ain't someone you miss, bro. Like the only other person you could put up there with John Jones level of like, See, the only difference is like Conor McGregor's the biggest draw in UFC history. John Jones is the best UFC fighter ever. Like fighting wise, bro. John Jones put someone in a standing guillotine. Like John Jones, someone tried to take him down. Right, Eric? This is how it looked.
I'm trying to like.
Right, and he takes him down, and John
visualize.
Jones just goes like this, gets it under his neck, and you just watch him lift his hips, and then you watch the dude's arm drop, and John Jones throws him like he's a dead body.
Yo, that's
It is
wild.
It
That's
is.
disgusting.
Oh my God, bro! It
He's
is one of the
lethal. He's
most.
lethal.
It is one of the coolest UFC things ever. There's also John Jones wins a fight by knockout by the end of the first round, or I think it was the end of the second round. He broke his toe in the cage in the middle of the round. His bone was popping out of the toe.
John Jones.
Yeah, but he hid the toe on purpose so the doctors couldn't see it to finish the round. Finishes the fight. If the round would have ended, if the round would have
That's a
ended,
dog,
the
though.
doctors would have saw it and been like, "Bro, you can't fight."
That's a dog, though. That's a dog.
John Jones.
John
man.
Jones. So I started getting into UFC a little bit 2 years ago. I feel like John Jones was the first fight that I really got into. I don't remember who he fought, but it was John Jones at one of the big fights I got into. And then
Probably
Israel Adesanya.
Cormier.
Yeah, it was. That's John Jones
Wow.
is dangerous, and I feel like this is a
The
much.
greatest rivalry.
This is a must. This is a must win for John Jones, especially if you've seen the media recently.
Any fight's a must-win for John
Yeah.
Jones at this point. John Jones is like, well, I mean, it's hard to say this at all. Like at the end of the day, John Jones is virtually undefeated.
Yeah.
He has one loss on his record, but his one loss is a disqualification loss from 12-6 elbows that actually, as of last month, are no longer illegal in the UFC and never should have been in the first place. They were a rule that was illegal in the UFC. The whole story behind it is this. When the UFC was being made, right, they were going through the rule set because obviously cage fighting is hard to get sanctioned in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the story goes they were trying to make the rule set. One of the OGs, Big John McCarthy, who's an OG ref, is kind of making the rule set with these other dudes. And this one dude is a Brazilian or a Muay Thai fighter. Or maybe it might have been Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. A gi fighter. You know what I mean? One of those guys who like kind of fights in like the karate gi. One of those like mixed martial arts. And he claimed that he once saw one fight with 12-6 elbows so bad that the dude had like everlasting damage, like brain damage or something like
Yeah.
that,
I mean,
which is terrible to hear.
That's like that in every fight. You can't go into a fight not thinking that's possible for every
But
fight.
no,
so,
but also like that's what I mean.
Yeah,
And then
that's-
on top of that, also like the clips have come out from that fight. Like the ref didn't stop it. The dude like got like 13 12-6 elbows in while the dude was laying there limp. Like that's not the elbow's fault. Maybe the fight should have been stopped. Like
Yo, that's crazy.
like so that's John Jones. So that John Jones at this point in his career, any fight's a must win. I'd agree with that completely. And I don't know. I think the craziest statement out of John Jones, and it proves where John Jones is in his career, is in the interview like 2-3 days ago. He goes, I have no, like I was just saying about the Aspinall thing. He goes, I have no interest in fighting Tom Aspinall. Honestly, what I'll do for Tom Aspinall to make him happy, I will vacate the heavyweight belt, make him heavyweight champ. I'll vacate the belt, and I want to go fight Alex Pereira for the BMF belt. Which, by the way, if Alex Pereira fights in 3 different weight classes, not even if he beats John Jones, if he's a 2-time champion and fights in 3 different weight classes, that man's the greatest of all time. Alex Pereira is something else, man.
No, yeah.
But that's Saturday. There is a Sunday.
There is a Sunday.
And we said earlier, it's a fun Sunday.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be a really good Sunday. Action-packed Sunday.
Yeah,
Very
I mean,
action-packed Sunday.
there's a lot going on in the NFL. I mean, this year, you're my guest. This is your first time on the show. You have any things you want to talk about first in the NFL?
I think tonight's game is a huge game. I mean, you got the Eagles coming in at 7-2. They're projected to be one of the best in the NFC as usual. And you have the Commanders who are entering their first year of the rebuild with new ownership, new coaching. They're 7-3. It's a great start. I mean, this game has major implications to the NFC East. I mean, the Commanders are tied or half a game out right now by the Eagles based off bye. But the
That was
Commanders,
a bad loss last week.
yeah,
too.
that Zach Ertz call was pretty brutal. But you got to look at it in a standpoint of where the Eagles are home playing the Commanders. You have a Commanders team. You're playing against one of the best running backs in the league, especially Saquon Barkley. It's going to be a long day for that defense because Marshawn Lattimore's out tonight. He's not making his debut. But if you are the Commanders, you got to
Sorry, I'm a
start.
Saints fan. That hurt. That hurt.
You have to. If you're the Commanders, you have to start fast. I mean, you have to attack
Um,
one of the worst pass defenses like on paper. They've been good this year just because of how good the pass rush is. But you have to attack the air, and Jaden Daniels has been so good at that this year.
No, I completely agree. I mean, you spoke about that with the Commanders. They have no Marshawn Lattimore tonight. The defense is struggling. The Eagles' defense is also struggling. I'll start here. To give people an insight to what I think this game is going to be, the Eagles' offense is scoring 25 points per game.
Yeah.
The Commanders' offense is scoring 29 points per game. The Eagles' defense is giving up, I believe it's 19 points per game.
17 right
17
now,
points per game. And the Commanders' defense, I believe, is giving up 20 points per game.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is the over right now is 49.5.
Hammered.
I'd even argue bet the
Smash.
like I'd say smash the over. I think this is
Smash.
going to be a
yeah.
high-scoring game.
It's gonna be a good game. Too.
I don't know. I think
and Brian Robinson's playing this
that's
week,
what I was about to
too.
say.
That's huge.
Commanders are getting Brian Robinson back. Zach Ertz is good, but I was listening to someone talk about them today, and like this game today. Oh, it was Chuck Pagano. The Eagles, man, are on a roll.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Eagles are on a roll, and it's crazy that the Eagles right now are sitting at 7-2, and I feel like the sentiment heavy in Philadelphia is still get rid of Nick Sirianni.
And it's move on from Jalen Hurts, I've heard. But Jalen Hurts, if you look at his
Really,
stats,
I haven't heard that.
I've heard that a lot this year. I mean,
I've also heard that a
he's
lot, actually, to be fair.
he's got 19,000. My bad. He's at 1,900 yards this year, 12 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. I mean, you can't really say that's not good. I mean, you got to look at he has 10 rushing touchdowns, which is second in the league among like all players, which is insane. He's over like David Montgomery and Kyron Williams, like, just behind Derrick Henry. But then you have to like factor that in. But they finally have a running game with Saquon, who's got 990 rushing yards
and hurtling people backwards.
That was insane, and he's got 8 rushing touchdowns too. Like, you have to look at that. The Eagles not only have a competent passing game, but they have the best, in my opinion, the best rushing game in the league.
Bro, can we just take a minute and talk about how that man hurtled someone backwards?
Yo, that was absolutely
That was insane.
Yo, and then he
Not
can't-
human-like.
No, I think the funniest part is people were talking about it like he had to come out, like people are so impressed with how like skillful Saquon is
Yeah.
that he had to come out after and be like, yeah, I just did that on the fly. Like people thought he meant to do that.
They
drug tested him.
They drug tested him multiple. I
Bro,
heard
you
like it was
don't-
like 10 times.
Yeah.
I think anybody who's played a sport ever kind of realized like you never mean to do that. Like you don't
Oh no,
mean
no way.
to.
not at all. You can't practice that. That's not practicable.
Like, bro, that was insane. He goes for that he goes for another spin and just like aborted halfway through and said, "You know what?
It was
I'll
nuts.
jump."
It was nuts.
I mean, I think the you got to give the commander some credit though, especially with Jaden Daniels. He's been amazing this year, and I think their biggest key to success is getting the ball down the field to guys like Terry McLaurin. I mean, McLaurin has been very good as the last couple of weeks,
McLaurin's
besides
been-
against the Giants.
McLaurin's been on a roll.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
been having a really good year in general.
He really has been, and
And
he finally is getting his credit
That's
he
what
deserves.
I'm saying. I really like the praise that he's getting media-wise because I feel like Terry McLaurin has been like an 1,000-yard receiver, like
100%.
Like-
Every
like,
single year with
yeah.
a bad quarterback.
yeah, and
This
like
is the first time he's getting a guy who can actually throw
exactly.
the football.
It's all clicking together for him now, and Jalen Daniels is just absolutely on a absolute
No, yeah.
tear. I was talking to my friends last night who, I mean, am I the only one? Don't get me wrong, this Commanders team is good. Am I the only one who thinks the people calling for them Super Bowl is crazy?
I haven't seen that. I think that they're going to make the playoffs this year. They're already 7-3, and they still have matches with the Eagles left. But you got to look at it like this: they play the Cowboys still, who are obviously the Cowboys are going to be terrible the rest of the year with Dak out for the year. I mean, I'm looking at their schedule right now. They have the Falcons, Eagles, Saints, Titans, and then the Cowboys twice. That's right there. Let's count. The Titans a win, Saints a win. They'll probably lose the Eagles
Is
twice.
the Saints
and they
in
beat the
New
Cowboys
Orleans?
each. Yes. But I mean,
It's probably a win, but actually no, it's after a bye week too. Then that's
yeah,
a win.
unfortunately, unfortunately for you.
No. I'm honest with my team. My team's not good. I've learned a lot as a Saints fan that any team coming into New Orleans, it's a hard game.
Yeah.
But off a bye week, I'll definitely give them that.
But that's realistically beating the Cowboys twice and then 2 more wins. That's 4 more wins, and that's 11 games. That's playoffs right there. I don't see them beating the Lions yet. I don't see them getting past the Eagles yet, unfortunately, but I do see them making the playoffs in a first year of a rebuild. That's huge.
Bro, that's honestly the thing that, like, I was looking at this playoff picture on Tuesday, and I kind of talked about it on the show. I kind of feel like the NFC sucks.
Yeah. No, the NFC's way better than the AFC. You got to look at it like that.
I don't know. The Eagles don't feel like a Super Bowl team. The Falcons don't feel like a Super Bowl team.
Detroit do.
The Cardinals don't feel like a Super Bowl team.
The Vikings do.
The Commanders do. Bro, I can't. After the way the Vikings have played the last 2 weeks, I don't know if they feel like a Super Bowl.
I don't consider teams Super Bowl teams because anything can happen in the playoffs. I consider the NFC stronger right now just because of the fact that you got to look at the AFC. Like, look at who's in the wild card right now. You're obviously going to have the Chiefs on top, the Ravens on top, but, like, the AFC is the weakest it's been in the last 5 seasons. You have the Bengals at 4-6 sitting out of it. You have the Broncos in the playoffs right now. The Broncos, who were on, if you look at DraftKings, they were projected to win 3.5 games. That's brutal. You have the Chargers, who are 6-3, who will be beaten by any team above them, really. And then obviously the Dolphins aren't going to do much in the playoffs with the 3-6 team, and their defense isn't good. The Jets aren't good. The Browns, who were considered a playoff contender, are 2-7 right now. Then you have the NFC. You have the 49ers, who made the Super Bowl last year, as on the outside of the wild card. I have the Packers. The Packers can make noise. They have one of the better defenses in the league. The Vikings have a great defense.
My big thing is just, and I've seen this time and time again, and in my life, to me, the way that I've watched football, this is proven above all, no matter how good you play through 16, 17 games. Playoff experience is very important.
100%.
And that's why I sit here and I look at this. Like, yeah, the Eagles have had playoff success, but not that much under not that much under Sirianni.
Yeah, they've been bounced, twice in the wild card
round?
round?
Kirk does not have a lot of playoff success. Has been okay in the playoffs. Cardinals have no playoff experience. Sam Darnold and the Vikings have no playoff experience. The Commanders are super young. Like, and I'll be honest, sitting here looking at this I'll looking at the NFC, I'll admit that. The Cardinals and 49ers, I expect to flip. I expect the 49ers
I don't
to win
know.
that division.
The Cardinals have surprised a lot of people, and I feel like the Cardinals are a team you can't just zone out. I mean, they did.
I don't think it's because of how bad the Cardinals are. I think it's because the 49ers.
Yeah, they're just getting healthy. And
Exactly.
They look really exciting.
That's exactly what I was just about to say. The 49ers just got CMC just came back.
Purdy's playing amazing.
Yeah,
right now.
Purdy's been on they're people. I think people forgot about the Niners because we all forgot about how injured they were. So, everyone early was like, oh, the Niners are just bad this year. I guess that happens. Like, it's a bad year and kind of gave up on them. And now all the pieces are clicking, and it's like, I'll tell you this right now. At home against Seattle this week, if they win by more than 2 scores, that's scary.
Yeah.
That is terrifying.
Yeah, I agree. But you also... You can't look at last week's game and be like, oh, wow, they barely beat the Bucs. I think the Bucs are a playoff team. They're just unfortunate injuries to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Baker Mayfield's great. Their defense has been terrible. That's been the biggest issue with the Bucs. They cannot stop anything on third down. But you just got to look at that and be like, wow.
And, bro, I don't know. I feel like in the AFC sense, I feel like the AFC, it's top-heavy, but, you have the Chiefs. Obviously, they're the Chiefs.
Yeah.
You have the Bills.
This is the big Bills year,
which time and time again, I was just about to say that, but I feel like I've been saying that for the past 4 years, where I've been heavy on the Bills, and it's just right.
Yeah.
I think honestly, I do think that the Steelers might be the most underrated team in the NFL right now, because I think a lot of people are sitting there and going, "How are the Steelers 7-2?"
I kind of forgot that they
It
existed.
makes a lot of sense.
I agree.
Watching that team now, if they still had Justin Fields and were 7-2, I'd sit here and go, "How is that team 7-2?"
No, yeah.
That offense hit such another level under Russell Wilson. The way that he has played there, they've won. I mean, now this week is big against Baltimore
That's
because the 3 games are the Giants, the Jets, and I'm blanking on who they played, and the Commanders last week, who they beat the Commanders off a mental mistake by a defensive lineman.
I mean, at the same time, though, you have to look at how Russell Wilson, especially George Pickens. I mean, the Steelers gave that game away on that big. They did a fake punt, which was unnecessary, which put the Commanders literally right back into the red zone, which Austin Eckler scored off of. But Wilson looked amazing. He had 3 touchdowns.
That's what I mean.
But yeah, exactly.
And also, this is something that's underrated to people. I don't know how you feel about this opinion. I've been on this show for the past 3 years, and I've ripped this sentiment. I hate this whole game management thing is a bad thing. Like, if you're a good game manager, you're a bad quarterback all of a sudden.
I 100% agree.
Oh, he's just a game manager. I sit here and I point out this point every time. Who's the greatest quarterback of all time?
Tom Brady.
Right? That's what a lot of people say. A lot of people say Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time, right? Is Tom Brady not the greatest game manager to ever step on a football field?
100%. He didn't have those games where he's throwing for 700, 600 yards a game. He gets in the game.
Tom Brady couldn't throw the ball 70 yards downfield.
He was there to win the games for them, and that's what you need. I mean, you got to look at Mahomes right now. Mahomes is a game manager right now. He's not the guy he was with Tyreek Hill. He's winning games right now.
The reason that team scares me a lot is because that team going into last week, I said, is the ugliest 8-0 I've ever seen.
Yeah,
it's just not clicking. It almost reminded me of that one Steelers team that was 8-0. Remember? And then they ended the year like 8-8 or like 9-7.
Washington beat them. Washington made the playoffs that year. That was that year.
But when they blocked that field goal last week,
it was so
against Denver,
voodoo.
It was so predictable. It was gonna happen. Like it's
bro,
just like
that's just
voodoo.
One of those plays. That's like that. Like that's like when Julian Edelman catches the ball against the Falcons.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, never mind. This team's gonna win again. All right, let's all pack it in.
Up and go home.
Yep. All right, there we go, Chiefs. Just give them like you can almost just. Obviously, no one can ever just give them you can never give a team a ring in November, but it almost felt like that after that. Like I feel like a lot of non-Chiefs fans felt like that after that, where they all went, they're gonna win.
This Chiefs team, I don't know, because I mean you gotta look at week 1. They lost off the toe. Week 2 they lost. They won. Like they beat the Ravens off of a toe. Week 2 they beat the Bengals off of a pass interference call. Same thing in week 3. They beat them off of a bad call. And then you got to look at the Chargers game was a 1 score. The Saints game was a 13-point score. And then like the Buccaneers got screwed out of having no chance in overtime. Baker Mayfield outplayed Mahomes that game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Bo Nix outplayed Mahomes.
Wait, hold on. I have to say something. On what you said. Even though I do agree that Baker did outplay Mahomes in that game. I don't like that sentiment about since Baker didn't get the ball, he didn't have a chance.
I agree, yeah, that's true.
You have a defense on the field. Like, I hate it. I went on so many rants about that when people were talking about the Bills thing, and then they changed the rule. And people, like, I literally talked about it, like, bro, when that whole Bills game happened, don't get me wrong, I would have loved for Josh Allen to get the ball back to see what could happen.
That game was legendary.
No, yeah, it was.
So awesome.
But, like, I sit there and I go, bro, people talk about that game like the Bills didn't have a like Mahomes was just running against the air.
That's true.
Like it was like, oh, Mahomes got the ball, he's running against the air. Like the Bills had gotten a couple stops in that game. Like the Bills were the best defense in the league going into that game. Like you, like I don't know personally.
I
don't like so like that's why I don't like where you say Baker got screwed out of not getting a chance in overtime. Like he had a chance. His defense couldn't stop Mahomes.
Feel that, yeah.
And also, I do agree with you where a lot of those moments are like, you know what I mean?
It's every year,
the toe.
Yeah, that was. And then the blocked kick was so predictable. It was so set up for it. The Broncos looked amazing last week.
And I want to say, you say it's every year. I feel like this happens a lot in a lot of games. And people go, oh, it happens every year to the Chiefs because they win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what I am going to say is, that's why, again, this Chiefs team feels like a Chiefs team that could be destined for 3 straight and for history, is because you need, like, we talk about it with the Patriots and the Tuck rule and this and that.
You need everything to go right. And everything is going right.
It's just all. But also, you need everything to go right at the right time. It could fall apart week 17. They get a bye week, play Baltimore in Baltimore.
It's any given Sunday. That's what they say.
That's also a big thing. I think Baltimore's built for a Super Bowl this year. them sitting as they need to win their division.
Here's the issue, though. Their defense digressed majorly. They have the worst pass defense in the league right now, and that is a problem. Like, Joe Burrow just threw for 420 yards last week.
That's why I think it's big that they can't. Like, that's why they need to be a home team in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, I could argue, as well offensively as they are built for a Super Bowl run, and I think in the modern era, even though their pass defense is bad, their team could still very much go on a run.
I agree. It depends on a lot. It's getting into it. I mean, you lost Anthony Weaver last year, which was a huge loss.
Like, you can't be going into Kansas City.
No, 100%. But I feel like this week, I think the Chiefs lose this week by like 7 or 10. I mean, you're going into Buffalo. The Bills are very, very, very hot right now. Like the Bills are. I think the Bills are honestly the team to beat in the NFL right now. Like they aren't like they have been good since when they lost to the Texans and the Ravens. Like Josh Allen has been amazing. You have to look at it. They are scoring the third most points in the league right now. They have a good passing offense, which the Chiefs aren't the best at stopping the pass this year. And they're getting Amari Cooper back this week. I mean, they're going to lose Keon Coleman, but they get Amari Cooper and Dalton Kincaid. That's two huge additions back to the team.
I actually might have a bold statement to say. This is a bold prediction.
Let's hear it.
Logstradamus is coming out here. The Chiefs win and I think they will, because they are a very good team and they prepare well for good games.
Yeah.
When the Chiefs win this week, and they go into Carolina next week, it's a trap game.
Oh, my God.
Carolina beats them. Carolina beats them.
Stop it.
Either that, no. But I'm telling you, those two, no, watch. Especially if they do beat the Bills, watch either Carolina or the Raiders to be the team to beat the Chiefs.
The Raiders give them trouble. They gave them trouble.
They
gave them trouble 2 weeks ago.
Watch one of those two teams. I understand Panthers is a bold statement because they're the Panthers.
I mean,
but it is.
Bryce Young's
but
been good.
Again, looking at their schedule,
He's been better.
And looking at how football lines up now. They could go around it because they are the Chiefs at the end of the day. But you win off a block field goal in a close game.
Yeah.
And then if they do, right, you go into Buffalo and win a tough game. Going to Carolina the next week, back-to-back road games, going to Carolina, a team that you're supposed to handily beat, like we're all saying, for a 1 o'clock game is the definition, the quintessential, the textbook NFL trap game.
Yeah.
Like by going into Carolina 10-0 after beating Buffalo, which is arguably right now to a lot of people the only team who could beat you, is the definition, the Webster Dictionary to me, of an NFL trap game. Am I wrong?
I mean, yeah, I can see
I
it,
can
but
see
at
it.
the same time,
I don't think
it's
going to happen. I really don't think it's going to happen.
I think the Chiefs lose 3 more games. I think they lose this week to the Bills. They lose to the Texans when they play them on December 21st.
And they lose to the Broncos?
And they lose to the Broncos January 5th because they'll have nothing to play for, really. And not that they'll have nothing to play for. It's just the Broncos just gave them trouble in Arrowhead. And I feel like the Broncos defense took care of Mahomes. They did what they had to do.
Yeah.
Like they've been doing all year except for the Ravens.
Yo, them in Pittsburgh on Christmas.
That's going to be a great game.
Cinema.
But I don't see
that is a
I don't see the
weird
Chiefs.
game.
I don't see the Chiefs losing that game. I don't know. I don't think the Steelers are.
And that's actually this year. It's on Netflix. Apparently.
Yeah, it is
this year.
It's
Oh,
on
yeah.
Netflix
Yeah, I
this
saw
year.
that.
So that's starting this year with the Christmas games on Netflix. So.
But looking back at the schedule this week, like let's take a look. I mean, you have a lot of playoff implication games. Like the Dolphins need to win this week. Obviously, the Jets' hopes are kind of over, but they beat the Colts. They're 4-7. So are the Colts. Dolphins will be 4-6. They'll be 1 game out. But the Ravens-Steelers game, in my opinion, is the biggest game this week. That's the biggest game this week, not only for AFC seeding, but for that division. The Ravens, that's a must-win division for the Ravens. If they don't win, it's going to be bad for the playoffs. But if
a lot
if
of
they
playoff
win,
implications.
I mean, even the Seahawks. I mean, they're 4-5. A couple wins with Geno Smith, who honestly has been, hate to say it, but has had one of the best passing seasons in the league by yards.
I
It's
do.
insane.
I do want to talk about also. I do want to move on from the NFL
Mhm.
because there's 14 teams, I believe, in the NFL playoff.
Yeah.
There are now 12 teams in the college football playoff.
Oh, yeah.
This is getting this
Oh,
college
yeah.
football season is getting
Yo, this
fun.
season-
100%.
crazy.
It's
This
so
has
open
been
right
one
now.
of the best college football
it's
seasons I have
perfect timing
watched
that they
in a
added
while.
that they added the 12
Yeah,
team playoff,
there
'cause
is
there's
not a-
so many well-deserving teams,
100%.
and the teams that are gonna get left out. Like last year, like
Let me pull up this bracket.
Let's be honest. FSU
Didn't deserve.
didn't deserve to be in the playoffs. Look at them right now. Look at them right now.
Playoffs. And even outside of that, I really don't think there was that much of an argument for leaving them out and like within like top 16
For FSU?
last year.
No, I don't think FSU
I don't
deserved
think
it.
there was. I don't
The
think
committee- the committee
Oh,
takes-
yeah, not at all.
The committee takes injury into hand too.
Absolutely.
And Jordan Travis was out for the season. Why put a team without their starting quarterback?
I sat there and argued that FSU fans should have shut the hell up because Georgia deserved to be it. Bro,
Yeah.
Bro, you
Yeah.
looked at out of all the
But
teams.
you-
I'm saying, all right. I think that I do think they got it right last year.
I do too.
But I think out of those two teams last year, out of Florida State and Georgia, right? As a Florida State fan, yeah, you're undefeated. But I think as a fan, you could look at there as a reasonable fan, not a crazy fan like clearly Florida State fans were. You could go, well, my team's injured.
You're not going to beat Michigan
Georgia
without a
fans were
quarterback.
sitting there going, "Hold on, back-to-back champs. We lose our first game in 2 years, and all of
I
a
know,
sudden
that
we
was
can't
nuts.
we
That
can't
was
even
crazy.
compete to
That
was-
defend our
crazy.
championship."
But you can't put Bama. You can't not have Bama in after beating Georgia in the SEC championship.
That's what I mean. That's
So
why. That's why I thought they got it right.
But like, who wants to watch FSU with their backup quarterback get murdered by Michigan, just like we did a couple seasons ago when Georgia destroyed Washington? That was awful. Like you have to look at it also by not viewership, but like chance. In what world will FSU with their backup QB win a playoff game?
And we saw what happened in the ACC championship game where he was out and they barely they won 16-6 against Louisville. Like
Which was exactly. Like,
that is-
I'm not
that
watching
Yo,
is-
and then look
that
at
is
what
not-
happened in the
that is-
bowl game.
Well,
that is-
they benched all their starters in
They did-
protest.
they
They
did-
thought
they
they were trying to
fair.
protest the
be fair.
playoffs, but they got murdered.
I'm
to be
sorry.
fair, they did.
The sentence you just said, and I know that I've read that before, so I
Yeah.
knew that was true. But hearing someone say that out loud, is that not the dumbest
So
sentence
dumb.
you've ever just heard?
You're playing football still at the end of the day.
All right, yeah, it's the last game of the season, guys. We didn't make the playoff. And actually, if we play this game, we're definitely never going to play it. Like, it is set in stone when we play this bowl game that we are not going to play in the playoff. So, in protest, we're going to definitely not play anyone.
Like you could bring something home. Like
Exactly.
there
yeah.
was still
you can
something.
that was the most
it's
important
not
bowl game.
No,
nothing
like,
to-
bro,
literally.
if you wanted
it's
to-
a prove it game.
Yeah, if you wanted to give the college football committee a slap in the face last
you
year,
win that
you
game.
win that-
you
that's
win
it,
that
yeah,
game by
exactly.
Go out
70
and you
points.
win that game.
Like they are 1-9 right now.
All right,
they are the
They're
worst team in the
terrible.
country. They're the
They're
worst team in the country.
terrible
Yeah.
this year.
I do want to talk about the top of the ranking here,
Yeah.
though, because we talked enough about last year and how terrible Florida State is.
Terrible,
Um,
terrible.
A lot of interesting stuff I feel like has gone on this year. You have Signetti down there in Indiana taking over after his year in James Madison.
Yeah.
10-0 with a backup quarterback.
I mean, you even gotta look at it when Curtis Rourke comes back. Curtis Rourke was crazy to start the year, and when he comes back, I think Indiana, from what I've read, is honestly a lock right now to make the playoffs. Because like they have nothing to really prove. I mean, they're gonna play Ohio State. If they are like if it's a good content, if they
Yeah.
lose by like a touchdown or like 10 points, they
As
prove
long
what
as
they need to do.
they keep it close with Ohio State.
Exactly, they're in. They're in.
locked.
They have nothing
Um,
to lose there. I think that the most fraudulent team in the top 12, and this is a crazy take, I think Penn State.
Yeah?
I don't
like.
I don't like Penn State at all. They did not put up a fight against OSU. They almost lost to USC. They haven't played well against even look at the game week 2 when they played Bowling Green. They played terrible. I watched that game and I was like, what am I watching right now?
I don't know. I think them at 4, I agree, is crazy.
They should be. I think Tennessee should be over them. And when Tennessee beats Georgia this week,
Are you trying to tell me they're not a top 12 team?
No. They're definitely top 12. I have a lot of teams. I would even argue Miami over Penn State right now.
I put Indiana over them.
Yeah.
I put BYU.
No, BYU. I think Indiana's good at 5. BYU over Penn State. That's what I would say.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm putting BYU over them.
Yeah.
I'm probably taking Tennessee over Penn State.
Not Notre Dame though. I wouldn't take Notre Dame.
That I was about to say that's where it's like, but I feel like you could argue it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to look. Who did Penn State lose to this year?
They lost to Ohio State.
They lost to Ohio State.
But I mean, they don't have a quality win this year.
No.
They smoked Washington. Washington are not as good
But
as
yeah,
last
Washington. Yeah, no, exactly.
Year. They're really bad. Wisconsin are not great. They barely.
They have
beat
someone else who
USC.
they squeezed. Yeah, that was
They barely-
USC.
yeah,
they
by
squeezed
3
out
in
against.
OT.
Who's not good.
And then they almost got upset by Bowling Green.
By
And
Bowling
if
Green.
you lose, if that that
Shout out
even
Bowling Green. Shout out Steve Janot.
as the committee, you have to look at that game. And when they came out with the rankings, I was shocked to see Penn State at 4. I mean, you gotta. I mean, same for Miami. They haven't really had a not
Yo,
a
nah,
quality win.
Miami at 9 is so crazy, bro. I'm sorry.
They should be borderline like out right now.
I
like,
think they should be out. I think you should have brought Miami out and put in Boise State.
you think Ole Miss over Miami though, and Bulldog Georgia over Miami right now. I wouldn't. I don't think Georgia should be. I think Georgia should be out instead of Boise State unless they beat Tennessee. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think Georgia's
I
the
think
same
you
team.
have to put Mississippi. I think you have to put Ole Miss at 11 after beating Georgia. Like that was a big win for Ole Miss,
yeah.
and they looked really good in that game too. I would take Miami out, move Bama up to 9.
I don't know though. As a Bama fan myself, I don't think we're gonna do anything in the playoffs this year. Jalen Milroe is not gonna say a fraud, but honestly, he is. He's not the quarterback. Everyone thinks he's a top 10 pick. I was saying this about Bryce Young too. He hasn't proved anything in college. Bryce Young didn't prove anything, and Jalen Milroe has lost those games. Especially against Vanderbilt, he lost. Tennessee, that game was so winnable, but Milroe couldn't move the ball, and that
Is that back-to-back years Tennessee got y'all too?
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, I think they got us last year
Good
too.
old Rocky Top.
I think Tennessee's a great team. I think Tennessee is gonna give a lot of trouble to Oregon and Ohio State this year. I think Tennessee is better than Texas, honestly.
They're playing go
No,
football.
yeah, no. I've thought about. I like Tennessee a lot. I like the whole vibe down there in Tennessee.
I don't know how I feel about
If
Texas.
if any reps from Tennessee are listening, if you guys want to like give me some money, I'll go to grad school there for 2 years. You guys
Shout
want to
out.
give me some money?
Shout out.
Shout out Rocky Top.
Shout out the Vols.
But this has been one of the best years.
No,
by
but
far.
yeah, I'll be honest. Miami just based off that, bro. That loss is that GT
crazy.
loss is bad.
Yeah. I mean, but you can't blame Cam Ward for that. Cam Ward played great.
I mean, I guess you could also sit there and go, well, GT also didn't they beat? It was Notre Dame that they played in Ireland, right? Who did
yeah.
they play in Ireland? Was it Notre Dame?
I think no, that was FSU they played in.
Oh, it was FSU. Yeah, that win doesn't count for anything.
No, I mean at the time it did. At the time it did.
And
They almost beat Syracuse.
Well, no,
too.
at the time, what that game actually showed us was that DJ Uungale, or however you say his last name,
Awful.
is terrible.
He lost his job already.
But so yeah, I'd say with that loss to Georgia Tech, I don't know. I think the college football playoff committee in general, even when it was a 4-team playoff, is too respectful to bad losses and overhypes bad wins.
Yeah.
I feel like they're too respectable to SEC teams too.
Well, yeah,
Absolutely.
no, we could sit there and argue that all day. They SEC favorite, and my argument has been this though. The BCS had just as big as an SEC favoritism as the college football playoff.
Yeah.
College football, at the end of the day, I'm sorry to say this to you, Ohio State Big Ten fans. I'm even like, I like Ohio State a lot. Like, I like the Big Ten a lot. College football runs for the SEC.
Yeah. I
College
agree.
football goes for the SEC.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You gotta look at
I think the culture, the SEC culture of college football is
100%.
completely different.
It's the same thing like how Big East basketball, or like how basketball at one point used to go through the Big East.
Right
It
now
doesn't
it's through-
anymore.
Isn't it through the Big Ten now?
Yeah.
Kinda.
It's the more Big Ten now.
It shouldn't be, but it is.
It's going to be the Big East again.
Oh, 100%.
Running back
It
this
should have
year.
been. It should have been last year, but no. They.
Absolutely should have been last year.
Yo, Eric, I got a question for you.
Yo, talk to me, twin.
Who's ranked number 22 in the country right
St. John's University Red Storm, baby!
now? What's that, first time in 5 years?
First time since 2019, baby.
Man, it is good to be a St. John's student.
I mean, I have one thing to say about last night's game. A win's a win. You got to lie. They've
I
been.
did not go. It was the only game I missed so far this year. So
They
you
looked-
are our analyst.
They were sloppy, very very sloppy. I mean, in all 3 games so far, they've been terrible in the first half. They've not been a first half team. They were down to They looked bad in the first half against Quinnipiac.
They looked really bad in the first half.
But
Quinnipiac.
like both
terrible.
games,
They
they
looked
came
so
together in
bad.
the end and won the game. They went on a 27-7 run last night to win. And I mean, they had 36 total rebounds. Zuby Ejiofor, he had a good I don't know. He played 28 minutes, and that's the reason why he played, is because the Wagner center is a big guy, huge guy. He was getting in there, driving in, and I feel like Vincent couldn't. You can't have him on the court against someone as big as like that and physical. So that's why Zuby was playing a lot, and Zuby had a decent performance overall. But I feel like
I've been disappointed in Zuby through the first 3 games. I don't know.
yeah,
I'm gonna ask his own classmate over here.
That's my boy. That's my guy.
How you feel, bro?
It's still. I mean, listen,
We're only three games in.
We're 3 games in, and let's not pretend like the 3 teams that we've played are like literally like the best teams in the country. They're not. All due respect to Fordham, Quinnipiac, and Wagner, but they're really.
Hey, Fordham.
NEC powerhouse. Wagner.
Hey, wait, hold on. Shout out Fordham, actually.
100%.
Seton Hall, go home. You guys suck. Shout out Fordham.
Shout out Fordham.
I mean, what's it called? Villanova lost again. I mean, they're 2-2 now.
Yeah, who'd they lose to last night?
St. Joseph on Tuesday.
Yeah, it was St. Joseph.
And last night,
second year in a row too.
Seton Hall lost to Hofstra last night.
Yeah,
by
they
one.
Really?
49-48.
1 point. I watched I'd say the last 15 minutes of that game.
Wow, we took Kadari and took everything from him.
Well, you gotta also look at it. They beat. I'm looking at the schedule right now. They beat St. Peter's by 4 points. They're not gonna be. I mean, you can't really put into consideration. Oh wow, yeah, they're losing games right now because it really doesn't matter right now what they do. It's really when the conference play starts. But I feel like the only big teams against St. John's is sure gonna be Marquette, Creighton, and UConn. You gotta always look at those. Creighton has been insane.
I mean, they got
Providence isn't bad still.
Division wise, I agree, and yeah, Providence is okay. I think on our schedule in general, I think Kansas State's going to be one of those weird games where even though they're not great, it's going to be big for the tournament.
Be a tough one.
It's going to have a lot of power points behind it, you know what I mean, or whatever it is.
That Baylor game is.
I hate how the tournament works, by the way.
That Baylor game is.
That Baylor game is.
And Georgia, honestly.
Yeah, both in the Bahamas, right?
Yes, sir.
Those are huge too.
11 p.m. on a Sunday though against Georgia.
We do have a big game this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yes, we do.
Rick versus Rich.
Yes, sir.
Father versus son.
Rick said he might disown his son. He's not afraid to disown his son. That's what Ricky P said.
This is a quote?
Yes.
This is a real quote?
I swear. This is what he said yesterday after the press conference.
I mean, this is going to be a hard game. I think New Mexico State could be a ranked team if they really they don't they have the talent to be ranked.
Right now the ESPN analysts have this at if there were 4 people on a panel, it's percentages, but if 4 people were on a panel, they have it 3-4. They have a 75% chance of winning. I mean, right now, RJ's leading us in scoring, which is surprising.
Shout out RJ, by the way.
I mean, because Kadari has been very disappointing so far. Very disappointing.
I feel like he hasn't even gotten the ball that much.
He didn't start yesterday. They had Brady starting over him.
I feel like he hasn't been getting the ball that much. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it's something in practice that's going on. Maybe there's something behind the scenes going on.
He played 30 minutes against Quinnipiac, had 3 points.
But I feel like he didn't touch the ball that game.
We also got to look at the game against. I mean, he wasn't awful against Fordham. He was 7 for 12 against Fordham. I don't know what's going on, but it's been obvious he's not having the same minutes he was for game 1. Something's going on.
I mean,
behind the scenes.
I think one thing that has to be fixed immediately is RJ is also leading us in rebounds.
Yeah, our rebounding has been terrible. It's been awful.
And our rebounding was really bad last year.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought the problem with adding Vince was going to be fixing rebounding, but they really haven't played Vince. It's been the same thing since last year. They're playing forwards over centers.
Yeah,
well, I mean,
100%.
To be again, respect to these guys who are out on the court, right? But
I mean,
but Vince has not been doing a great job getting rebounds, and also, like you see him getting offensive rebounds, and his putback ability is not great.
I mean, you can't really say he hasn't been getting rebounds. He played 8 minutes last night, had 2 rebounds, and he played 14 against Quinnipiac and against Fordham. So he really hasn't had. He's had a very small sample size. I feel like giving him more minutes is a huge thing. They've been giving a lot of minutes to Aaron. Aaron Scott's been getting a lot of minutes. Shout out to him. He's been pretty good.
I like Aaron Scott, and he was sick for the game against Quinnipiac.
He looked good He looked really good last night.
And then also, if we have good additions, Davon leads the league in assists.
I love Davon.
Davon has been amazing.
Davon's been playing so well.
Brady's been playing lights out as well.
Simeon took the step up we all wanted him to.
Simeon is great.
Sim took the step up we all wanted him to.
Last night's biggest issue, though, was free throws. I mean, we went overall. I'm going to look at the number right now. We shot.
You got the Portuguese prodigy, Ruben